Yeah, right away, you need to know that the 90-day mark is kind of the onboarding that universally companies accept to bringing someone onto your company.
Welcome to another $4 million strategy, the best 4 minutes in business for practical tips you could use in your business today. We're excited to have with us our guest, Laura Couvillon. She is fantastic. We've worked with her. We're going to talk about today something specific about onboarding your new hires, your people when you come on your organization. Laura, what are some best practice tips you can teach to our audience today?
Yeah, right away, you need to know that the 90-day mark is kind of the onboarding that universally companies accept to bringing someone onto your company. Now, this applies to full-time employees, obviously. I think that is obvious. Everyone knows that goes together, but this also applies to the fractional, the contractors, because they are still coming into your team, they're coming into your culture. So you need a plan with them and you need a way to check in. So there's two things I want to go over. First, you need to create the 90-day onboarding plan. You can't just expect it to happen. You can't expect someone to come in and magically transform your business if you're not willing to invest some time into planning those first 3 months with them, because they have a lot to learn, whether it's just how your team operates or actually digging into some things. So you want to set up in that 90-day plan a meeting cadence. This could certainly apply. It's going to apply to their direct report, the manager this person reports to. They need to be meeting minimum on a weekly basis with that manager, but it could be upwards to a daily meeting in the first several weeks and then extending it out as needed. And so this meeting needs to be a check-in meeting. How's it going? What roadblocks are you facing? How can I help you? It needs to be a safe place where they can ask questions. And then as they are taking over their responsibilities, you can map those meetings out a little bit farther. On the 90-day onboarding plan, you also want to have a learning plan. So something that they can follow as they're learning your company. This may be podcasts, courses you've created, or industry related learning plan. And then you also want on the onboarding plan, a culture plan. This is what a lot of people don't think about. So you want them tracking the living, breathing culture of your company. I'm using air quotes for those listening. And what that looks like is they're actually writing down examples of the way they see culture show up in your company related to your culture statement. So this might look like in the meeting that we had last Tuesday, I saw Sarah say XYZ, and that really exemplified this culture. And you want to reiterate that and say, I saw you exemplify that culture. So this is really making them feel like they belong. And then also in the culture plan, they need to keep a list of company acronyms that your company has, because whether you know it or not, you have a unique way you speak inside your company, and they're not going to know what ROAS means unless you tell them. And so they need to keep that list. And then finally on the plan, if you're big enough, they need to have an onboarding buddy. That's someone not their manager that they can go to, again, as a safe space where they can ask, what does that mean? Or where do I find this? I know I've asked you 10 times, but I'm overwhelmed. And so it's a safe person that they can always lean on. Now that's the plan. You also need to keep them accountable. And so that comes in line with the scorecard of such. And I know this is such a buzzword for people, but it's just a way to set clear expectations. On one side, the scorecard I ascribe to has a subjective measurement around how they're showing up culturally and are they aligning with the values of your company? And then on the other side, it's objective. And so it's attached to certain KPIs. It's attached to the big objectives that they really need to be focused on. And so digging into those for just a moment, the KPIs, if they're sales and marketing, that's easy. That's measurable. But even if they're operations, if they're delivery, you still need some type of KPI, even if it's they're writing one SOP a week, something you can check off and say, this is taking place. And then their key objectives are the things they're focused on in their role, they're actually doing. And these will change over the course of their career with you. So you always need to be refreshing them. But measuring them, being completely transparent about that measurement is important in that 90-day plan.
Laura, thank you so much for sharing best practice on incorporating a 90-day plan to onboard your new hires. Thank you so much.